And highly impactful weather pattern is about to impact the United States this week and next week, bringing about numerous storm systems, which means more severe weather as well as snowfall. I have all the information for you right here. Let's take a look at our jet stream across the United States on this Friday afternoon. Starting this as we head in towards the weekend, our next storm system, or our next trough, if you will begin to dig down into the southern United States. This will have a negative tilt to it, which means a lot of warm air will be surging northward, a lot of cold air will be surging southward, which means we will get a battle zone causing the threat for some severe weather as we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. Then as we take this into Sunday, into Monday, this trough will continue to dig into the central United States, bringing about another day of significant, perhaps severe weather across the central and southern plains, perhaps a damaging wind risk as we head in towards that time frame. Perhaps an MCS or a mesoscale convective system could develop out of that. And the interesting thing about this is as we head into Monday into Tuesday, we get this little bit of a jet streak to develop with this trough. And it's still digging, yes it is, across portions of the southern United States. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a squall line develop along this boundary as we head in towards Monday night into Tuesday, which is election day on Tuesday, by the way. So don't forget that. And on our actual election day, with this big jet streak, this will likely keep a squall line intact as we head into our election day in the afternoon. And if all goes well for the thunderstorms, we could be talking about a full-blown derecho in this region. All right, now it's too early to determine those details, but it definitely supports it, and it's definitely possible. So we're going to need to keep a close eye on that as we head into our Monday night, into Tuesday, and into Wednesday as well. Squall line will likely continue to propagate into the Ohio and Great Lakes region, and then as we head into Wednesday into Thursday, that storm system stops, and then we get more storm systems, perhaps an even bigger one as we head into late next week into the weekend, bringing about the threat for yet another round of severe weather for areas of the Midwest as well as the Ohio Valley as well as the Southern Plains as we head in towards beyond this time frame. And then as we head into 2 weeks and beyond and whatnot, this is fantasy land, but the GFS concerns that we get a much more active pattern and in the weather as we head in towards later into November. So need to keep an eye on any of those storm systems that come about across the lower 48. And of course, since storm systems are going to be ongoing, we have to take a look at our wind gusts across the United States, because storm systems this time around could potentially be producing some pretty good wind gusts here. Taking a look at Sunday afternoon, anywhere where you see these greens and these yellows are anywhere from 20, 30, even 40 mile per hour wind gusts. And we could see all the way into Canada some 20 mile per hour wind gusts at least as we head in towards that time frame. And then as we head in towards Monday, here the day before election day, look at these oranges popping off in the Great Lakes region. Those might be associated with lake effect activity, but it's probably not. But I'm just saying that we're likely going to see probably 30 plus mile per hour wind gusts in this circled isolated region through the daytime hours on Monday, November 4th. And again, anywhere where you see these greens, you're expecting at least 20 mile per hour wind gusts. So it's a big portion of the eastern half of the United States. Then as we head into our election day, we're likely going to be talking about perhaps 50 mile per hour wind gusts across this circle region, at least in excess of 40 in these light yellows, and in these darker yellows, you're talking about 50. All right, so we need to keep an eye on that, especially across the Great Lakes region as we head in towards that time frame. And then as that storm system moves out, we might be talking about damaging winds offshore, maybe some higher waves going into portions of Nova Scotia as we head into the day on November 6th. And maybe some 60 mile per hour wind gusts on the coast of Maine as we head in towards that time frame. That'll be one to watch. And then at the same time, We're going in towards late next week, in towards next weekend as that negatively tilted trough begins to punch into the lower 48. We could be talking anywhere on the northern end of the system, anywhere from 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And yes, you heard that right. Look at these oranges and reds embedded there. Those are 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. All right, that is really something we're going to be keeping an eye on for as we head in towards that time frame. And then as this continues to progress eastward, there's no telling what will happen beyond this. However, any of these storm systems will have the potential of producing at least 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts for a good chunk of the Great Lakes region and 20 plus mile per hour wind gusts. So pretty breezy conditions for the eastern United States as we head in towards these next couple storm systems, not including severe weather though. And obviously with storm systems, you're going to have a change in temperature. So let's take a look at our temperatures across the lower 48. Anywhere where I draw lines, you're likely going to be cooler north and warmer south. And if I draw this line, you're likely going to be really warm in areas south of this line, and you're likely going to be pretty cold, chilly, at least across portions of the northern part of this line. And then as we take this into the weekend, notice as we go in towards tomorrow afternoon, these yellows, which are 60s, are only confined to only of the central and southern United States. All right, we're only seeing 80s down here, nothing higher than that. So it's going to be a bit cooler down there, however, still pretty mild for November. So that's good news. But as we head into Sunday afternoon here on November 3rd, notice that I'm drawing this line northward again. This means that the warm air is starting to push up into the lower 48 a bit more. And again, anywhere north of this is a sign of you getting cooler than average air across the lower 48, or average air for this time of year. For some areas. And then as we head in towards Monday, look at how far north I'm drawing this line. All right, this is a warm front at this point. Where that northern part of that bulge is looking at here, you can see the warm air surging northward and the cold air surging southward. You can clearly see there is a set of frontal boundaries here. This is a warm front. This is a cold front here. This is a warm front there. And like I said, anywhere south of this line, you're likely going to be well into above average territory for this time of year. Like this area, we could be breaking some records for high temperatures, believe it or not. We should not be this warm in that region for November, especially in Michigan. To say the least. But as we head in towards Election Day, look where I'm drawing this line, folks. This is crazy. I'm drawing this all the way up into Canada, where we're seeing mild temperatures. All right, and for a good chunk of the West, we're seeing some chilly conditions. However, if you're on the eastern United States, you're seeing well above average temperatures for this time of year. Again, on Election Day, we could be breaking records, especially across Ohio, Kentucky, as well as Tennessee, and maybe even Michigan could potentially be breaking some records there as we head into our Election Day. And then when that front pushes through, we'll briefly get a cool down. But look at this. This line is still pretty far north for this time of year. So again, record high temperatures will still be a possibility in the Great Lakes, while we have some bone-chilling cold air coming in, waiting to just shove into the lower 48 as we head in towards late next week. And that's that next storm system I'm talking about. Whoops, I passed Thursday here. You can see where I'm drawing this. These are the less mild temperatures north and the more mild temperatures south. As we head in towards late next week, we're likely going to be seeing that across a good chunk of the lower 48. And then as we head in towards our Friday, November 8th, look at this line again, folks. This is warm air trying to push northward yet again, while we still have the chilly air for high temperatures surging southward, along with gusty winds. That is not going to be a good combination across the Pacific Northwest, or the Northeast for that matter. So definitely need your winter jackets there if you are drawn out north of this line here. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. But as we head in towards next weekend, this is where things change. All right, here is that big old storm system, and there's a cutoff. All right, there's a little bit of a trough that's going to be pushing this a bit further south. So maybe a bit chilly for anywhere north of this line through the day on Saturday, November 9th. And then as we head in towards November 10th, look what happens. The warm air surges northward as soon as that little trough gets out of there. Anywhere north of this, you're going to be pretty chilly for high temperatures, but still, you're going to be pretty mild for this time of year. So definitely enjoy that and take advantage of it as we head in towards that time frame. But as we head in towards Tuesday, November 12th, this is when things become a bit more uncertain. However, it looks like warm air will continue to surge northward and will continue to have front after front after front, pulling down those cooler temperatures and then those warmer temperatures surging back northward again. Well, like I said, I'm seeing a big change here as we head all the way in towards maybe even November 16th, 17th time frame. Again, this is La La Land I showed you before, but the GFS is hinting at a cold blast, an Arctic blast, spilling into the lower 48, and this would probably cause a winter storm breaking out across the Great Lakes, the Midwest, all the way back down into the Great Central Plains. All right, so that's something to keep an eye on there. Definitely a pattern change could potentially be coming up, and this cold air maybe could be here to stay as we head in towards the later part of November, but we'll continue to keep you updated in later forecasts. All right, now that we're done taking a look at the long term, now it's time to take a look at the big thing of this video, the severe weather threats across the country. You can see here for the daytime hours tomorrow, our day 2 outlook. Storm Prediction Center has highlighted a level 2 out of 5 in portions of central Texas all the way up to southern Oklahoma, with a marginal risk surrounding that. And as you can see, our tornado threat for tomorrow is pretty elevated across Midland, Texas, as well as around this where we have an isolated tornado threat all the way up into Oklahoma as we head into the day 2 period. But the most primary threat for the day tomorrow is hail, and hail could potentially be in excess of 2 inches in diameter in the Midland region of Texas, and we also have a hail threat all the way as far north as northern Oklahoma into southern Kansas in the day 2 period as well. So now that we're done taking a look at our threats for the daytime hours tomorrow, now we're going to time out these thunderstorms that could be producing those severe threats here with the HRRR model as we head towards tomorrow morning. This will probably just be mainly heavy rain and gusty winds, maybe some small hail embedded in that, but the bigger part of this is tomorrow afternoon and evening when these supercells start forming into portions of Lubbock down here into the Midland region, again, where we can see those large hail producers, even some spin-up tornadoes, and we could also see a squall line start to develop here in the marginal risk region in Oklahoma City and the Wichita region. This would be capable of producing some damaging wind gusts as we head in towards that time frame. And then as you can see, this is as far out as the HRRR model goes. Into Sunday afternoon, we have another threat for severe weather. Like I was saying on the long-term model runs there, we have a threat for severe weather all the way in the central to southern Great Plains. And we will likely have the threat for a squall line developing here by Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, producing widespread damaging wind swaths along this boundary. So I wouldn't be surprised to see northern Texas and southern Oklahoma get updated to an enhanced risk for wind damage and perhaps maybe even hail, with some supercells ahead of that as we head in towards the day 3 period, but still too early to determine that at this moment. And guys, that will finally do it for today's video. Make sure you drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and stay weather aware with these storms over the course of the next week.